This is the 6th OnShape tutorial for the pen project. In this tutorial, we're going to show you how to make cosmetic threads. So we're going to do things a little bit differently than we've done before. In the previous tutorial, we used the hole tool to create a thread call out hole, but it doesn't really show the threads. So in this tutorial, we're going to up your game a little bit and show you how to use a custom plugin or a custom extension for OnShape. So let's go ahead. We'll go down here and we'll start a new part studio. We're going to call this we'll rename it, call this the upper cap. And once again, we're going to start in the front, create a new sketch, right click, view normal to sketch. And I know as these videos go on, I try to go a little bit faster because, hopefully your skill set has improved. Once again, I'll start with a line starting at the origin, moving off to the left. Make sure that that line is horizontal. Hit escape. I'm going to go in here and I'll dimension this line. Okay, this one's going to be 475 thousandths, so 0.475. And we'll zoom in here. I hit F to fit. Okay, move my dimension up. I'm clicking on my scroll wheel to drag it down. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the rest of my basic geometry. So it's going to come up, it's going to come over, it's going to come up again, and then I'm going to hit escape. Okay. This last part here is going to be an arc, but we'll deal with that in a minute. I'm going to start adding a few more dimensions. You'll notice I got some lines here that are not quite set yet. So I'll take this first line and I'm going to set this to 75 thousandths for the radial dimension. And then I'm going to go off the center out to the outer side, or that outer corner, and this is going to be 204 thousandths. And again, right now I'm working all in inches, but very soon you're going to find out that part of this is metric. Okay, now I'm going to set this horizontal dimension. This is going to be 180 thousandths, or 0.180. So last thing I need to do is put the arc in here. So I'm going to go to my arc tools. All right. The default is usually like the tangent arc, but I want to use a 3-point arc, and I'll show you how that works. So with a 3-point arc, I'm going to grab the beginning, I'm going to grab the end, and then I'm going to use this to approximate the arc here. All right, so I'll get it close. I'm looking for a radius of 0.3, so I'm going to set that to 0.3, and there we go. So now I have my profile done. I'm ready to go ahead, exit the sketch, and much like before, we're going to select the sketch and revolve it. Notice this time I didn't click on the sketch face, I just clicked on the sketch in the design tree and it automatically selected it. My axis of revolution is going to be this bottom edge, and then I'm going to green check. Alright, so the next thing I want to do is I want to put a little bit of a chamfer on here. Okay, a chamfer is a bevel that goes along an edge. Alright, and this is often used so that way if you have a thread, you can get a gradual engagement as you start to thread it. It makes it easier for the thread to self-center. It's also used a lot in machining so that you can knock the burrs off of a part. So if you got a real sharp edge from a machining operation, you can come back with a chamfer tool. All right, so I'm going to select. All right, so I'm going to rotate this around a little bit. I'm going to select this edge here, and I'm going to set this for 20 thousandths, so 0.02 inches at 45 degrees. So now that that's done, I'm ready to thread this. Okay, now in order for me to put a thread on here, OnShape itself doesn't have tools, but other people make tools or plugins that you can add on to OnShape. So in this case, I'm going to go up here where it says 3D, and I'm going to come down using my drop-down arrow to add custom features. The feature that I am looking for is called Thread Creator. So we're going to hit search, and the first one we have here shows version 1 in progress, so I'll grab that one. So I'll click on that, and you can see here they use Thread Creator, so I want to use the one that says TH. And that's going to add Thread Creator to my list up here. All right, so I'll do that. So now I have Thread Creator added to my list. So now I'll go to my list, go to Thread Creator. As I mentioned at the onset of this video, all right, there are parts of this that are done in metric, and one of those is the thread. So if I use an ANSI standard, that's going to give me an imperial thread. What I need is an ISO standard. So ISO is going to be a metric thread. The faces I want to thread are going to be this one and the chamfer. Okay, the pitch is going to be 0.5 millimeter. Okay, if I put in the millimeter units, then it's going to automatically convert that to the appropriate imperial equivalent. Okay, my number of starts. My number of starts is going to be 1, so I'm going to have one single thread that wraps around this. I'm not going to do multiple threads. It is fully threaded, so I should be good here. So now I can click. Okay. All right, so now I have my thread created. Now, if you look at the thread, you'll notice that it says this is an M3.81. Well, this is supposed to be an M3 thread, not a 3.81. What does that mean? Well, that means we set the diameter of the initial cylinder incorrectly. So how do we fix that? Well, much like in previous videos, we mentioned that you can go back in and edit the sketch. So if I take this sketch, double click my radial dimension here, and set this to 3 millimeters, okay, divided by 2. Now, it might not like this because I put the millimeters first, but it took it. All right, so now you can see that this is considered a function. That's what the F means there. All right, that resized this. So now if I green check, all right, it still keeps the same label. So let's edit this feature and see what we get. All right, so I'm going to remove these, and then I'm going to come back in here and repick them. Notice how now it says M3-0.5, and that's the actual thread that it is. This is an M3 thread at a 0.5 pitch. This is a very common metric thread. So now that that's done, I'm going to take this part and I'm going to make it brass. So I'll edit the appearance. And now you're done. You're ready to move on to the next part.